Well, hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a Sunday Stuff and Things, and I know the lighting is not spectacular. I think I'm just completely in shadow. You can't see me at all, but we're gonna have to deal with it. It's actually sunny, so I'm not gonna complain about the shadows, and it's not super cold or super windy. So I'm going to enjoy this. It is actually Memorial Day weekend if you live in the US, so hopefully any of you who are US viewers of my channel are enjoying the Memorial Day weekend. There's a lot of festivities that go on in Bellingham on Memorial Day weekend. There is the Ski to Sea parade that's on Saturday during the weekend, and then the Ski to Sea race, which is on Sunday of the weekend. I never really look at either of them. I never go to either of them. I'm gonna try to maybe go to the parade today to take some pictures, but the Ski to Sea race is something that actually draws people from elsewhere in the world, where there is a race from the top of Mount Baker all the way to Bellingham Bay. So there's a downhill skiing portion. I'm probably gonna be forgetting some of the legs here, but then I think it's bike and then kayak, I think. I'm not totally sure. I've never actually watched it, even though that's crazy because I've lived here for most of my life, and it's kind of a big deal, but there are all sorts of other things like beer gardens and street fairs and all sorts of things that happen during the Ski to Sea Memorial Day weekend. And I might go out and enjoy a little bit of it. I think I actually get Monday off as well, which is nice. And Monday's supposed to rain, but most of the rest of the weekend is supposed to be pleasant. So I'm gonna get out there, enjoy the weather, maybe get some pictures. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. We're about to get into a really busy period at work. So we'll see what happens. I think I'm gonna be completely slammed. I'm hoping I'm still gonna have time to take photographs. Luckily, like now, it gets light at about 5 in the morning and stays light till after 9. And by the time we get to the solstice, it'll be after 10 o'clock at night until it gets dark. So I should have plenty of daylight to take some pictures. So hopefully I'll be able to update you with some photographs that I've taken. And I don't know, enjoy the spring, enjoy the early summer as it develops. I ended that as though that was the end of the segment, but I forgot. We have things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things you can look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. I want to delve into why I'm not taking, well, the question I got was, why don't you take color pictures anymore? And I do still take color photographs, but I want to just delve into that a little bit. There's a lot to kind of discuss around that subject. We're going to have your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag #AskStuffandThings, and then we will end the show as usual with our Patreon shoutouts and updates. Let's get into it. Hello, Crab. Where are you going, Crab? Okay, so upcoming videos. What can you look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon? Well, this week, exclusive to Patreon will be the 38-year-old pipe blend Dobie's 4 Square Curlies, sent to us by our good friend Ted Stryker. It is an interesting blend that has been off the market for at least 20 years, from what I can remember. And I did a kind of blend spotlight video that we'll be posting on Patreon this week. Then the week after that on YouTube on Wednesday, but Patreon early on the Monday, will be the 6-month setup and maintenance for a Fender Custom Shop 1960 Telecaster. So I just go through my twice yearly setup and maintenance of my electric guitars. I don't do both my electrics, I just show you the Telecaster, but just what I do twice a year to make sure that the neck hasn't moved too much. I check the truss rod, I can't speak. Check the truss rod, check the string height, the action, all that stuff. I do a nice deep clean, just showing you the maintenance I do on my guitars. And then the week after that, exclusive to Patreon, will be, was Frogmorton's Cellar ever really that good? So some of you who have followed my pipe content may have remembered that, God, 12 years ago, I think I posted a review of Frogmorton's Cellar, and it was a very popular kind of crossover English blend back in the day. It's been off the market for quite some time, and I found an old jar in my cupboard that is from 2014, so over 12 years of age on this, and I thought I would give it a try. I hadn't had it for over 10 years probably, and I had kind of soured on the Frogmorton series over the years, but I hadn't tried it in a long time, and I just wanted to say, you know, is it still, was it good? Was it ever good to begin with? So that'll be a fun video. We'll have more photography stuff coming up for sure on this channel. But yeah, stay tuned. Lots of good stuff coming up. As I look out on the blue-ish water of the bay, it's kind of a browny, greeny blue. The beautiful blue sky, the beautiful evergreen forests that blanket the hillsides around here, the vibrant green grass. There's a lot of color in this world. And when I was first really doing daily photography, I was mostly doing digital, and I was mostly doing color digital because I figure I have a digital camera and I'm not going to artificially choose black and white. I'm just gonna take pictures of what I see. I'm gonna try to replicate the world as I see it, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, I took a lot of pictures that way, thousands of pictures that way. And then when I started getting more into analog photography and realizing that if I wanted to be able to afford to do analog photography, I would have to develop it myself, I switched mostly to black and white because I could develop color photography at home if I wanted, but it would just be extra chemicals and extra hassle. And I also just wanted to focus on kind of one medium. If I was gonna do black and white film, or if I was gonna do film in general, I decided since it was easier to develop black and white film at home, I would pick black and white. I would pick one film stock and just stick to that for the most part and get really good at exposing for that film stock and then developing for that film stock. And that's what I have been doing. And I mostly shoot film and I mostly shoot black and white unless it's raining. And then I will take out my digital camera because my Fuji X100VI is weather sealed. And my Leica M4 is not. So it rains a lot here. And so often in the winter, I would be bringing my digital camera out. So it's not like I never take digital photographs. And I was finding though that sometimes when I was kind of editing, going through some of the pictures I would take on my digital camera, that I was deciding to switch them to monochrome from color. And I think it's because I had been thinking, I guess, thinking in black and white or thinking for black and white, just doing so much analog photography that I started seeing the images, or the images seemed better to me or looked more like what my vision of what the image should be, more in black and white than they did in color. So this background information, I wrote some notes here, things that I wanted to touch on. I don't have any bias against color photography. There are people who I really enjoy. I just picked up a photo book by William Eggleston, who is a well-known color photographer, and it's beautiful. I like color photography. I like it a lot. There is kind of this historical basis for, I guess when I think of classic film photography, I usually do think of black and white images, but that's not always the case. There are obviously tons of instances of really iconic images that were in color as well, that were film photography. I think that there was kind of this generation of people who grew up, who were a bit older than me, who grew up with analog photography, and these are actual photographers. I'm just a hobbyist. Just take everything I say with a grain of salt. But real photographers who started on analog, often usually shooting in black and white, and then many of them switched to digital because it was the new thing. It seemed better, it seemed more convenient. Maybe not better aesthetically necessarily, that's a matter of opinion or taste, but you know, you go from having to develop all your film and print it, because especially back then you couldn't do digital files, you would have to print it all, make contact sheets, make prints, work prints, and then final prints and all that stuff. The cost, the time, I'm sure it just seemed way more convenient to switch to digital. And then I think in general that professional photography kind of switched to color digital photography. There seems to be a newer generation of people who didn't grow up in the analog age who are kind of hearkening back to that now because they appreciate the aesthetic, they appreciate the process involved. I really appreciate just the feel of the cameras. I'm filming this video with a modern-ish, it's several years old now, Canon R6. It's a mirrorless digital camera. It's really nice. It's a really nice camera. It doesn't feel very nice. It feels fine, it's ergonomic, but it's a big hunk of plastic and glass. When you have a metal and glass film camera, it it just feels nicer to me in particular. It's, you know, it's again a matter of opinion. So I gravitate towards analog photography. We've talked before about the authenticity of analog photography and how I kind of gravitate towards that as well. And because I've been gravitating towards analog and because I developed my own film, I am gravitating more to black and white. I am considering maybe doing a bit more color film photography, but again, I would either have to dive in and start developing my own, or I would have to send it away. And I don't love the idea of having other people develop my film. I want to develop it myself. When I started doing more film photography and I was sending it away, I like the way my images that I have developed look better than the ones that were professionally developed by a lab somewhere. So it's not as though I have just rejected color photography. I think it has its place. I think it can look great. I think if you really do want to just photograph the world as it is, it makes the most sense because we do see the world in color. The world has color in it. I think there's kind of you get sort of once removed with a black and white photo where it's, you know, it is reality. You're taking pictures of things that really exist in the world. It's sort of like when people tried to use higher FPS for movies, where you would shoot something at 60 FPS or at 48, and we're just used to 24 frames a minute. I mean, a second in film, and it has this kind of dreamlike quality that it imparts to the image, and it makes it seem like you are stepping outside of reality. And maybe that's what a black and white photograph is that it's not that it's perfectly capturing what reality is. It is sort of giving you this heightened version of reality, and I think I kind of enjoy that. There's a timeless quality to it. But I also do agree that, or I also think that you should kind of just pick a tool and a method and stick to it for as long as you can and really master it until maybe you get completely bored of that. So I know that on kind of this internet film photography culture, or even just photography in general, the YouTube culture is all about gear. It's all about trying new things all the time, and you always have to have a new camera body or a new lens or something new to talk about if you're making a video. And I'm not trying to make that kind of channel. I'm just trying to share my passions and my hobbies, and photography happens to be my main passion right now. And so I'm not really interested in trying a bunch of new things. I just want to get really good at the tool that I'm using to take pictures. And so maybe I will be using Kodak Tri-X for 5 years, and then I might decide, okay, I'm good with that. I might try something else. I might try color film stock. I might go primarily back to digital again. I don't know. But for now, I really want to stick to this medium and get really good at it and know it inside and out. So I think I hit most of the points I wanted to. That is why I've been primarily shooting in black and white, because I've been primarily shooting film, because I want to get really good at shooting film using the camera that I have, and usually just 1 or 2 focal lengths and 1 kind of film stock. I am going to maybe, what is that? Man, that's loud. I am going to maybe take some color photographs of the Northwest Washington Fair when that comes around again this summer. I think that might be kind of fun. So you will see some color photography, and most of my digital will still probably be in color as well. But for now, I'm gonna really stick to the Kodak Tri-X, analog film, and black and white, and just see if I can actually really get good at it. Because as I mentioned, I don't know, maybe last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, I usually hate everything that I do when I look at my pictures. I eventually warm up to them a little bit, but I'm always unsatisfied, and I don't know that I ever will be satisfied, but maybe I'll be slightly more satisfied than I am now. So there you go. All right, gang, but now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like to answer it on the Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings, but you probably shouldn't because nobody does, and I never read Twitter/X anyway. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can go right to the front of the line. You can hit that super thanks button and go right to the front of the line. If you're a Patreon supporter, you have to message me on Patreon. I won't just magically know your question unless you actually message me. And then you can hit that super thanks button under this video and go right to the front of the line, or you can leave questions, comments, and feedback in the comment section of my YouTube videos. We have some feedback from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is via Patreon from our good friend Ted Stryker, who says, So I was showing off my pedal board, my new pedal board build, and my guitars. Yeah, that's quite the pedal board setup for just casual jamming. LOL. I'm sure my daughter would be jealous though. I think she'd have every pedal in the world if she could. My son is the same way with his drums. I can't really talk though because they'd be quick to point to my cellar. And yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about too with photography, where it's so much is gear obsessed and it's just this consumer driven thing where we always need to show something new, try something new. When I watch people who do film photography on YouTube, if I ever do, I haven't in a while, they're always using a new film stock. It's like, oh, I'm trying this today, I'm trying this today. And I guess that's fun, and maybe they're just doing it to make content, or maybe they actually really like using all those different film stocks. But how do you ever get good at that if you're constantly using a different film stock? I don't know. But with pedals, I can understand that too, because I have that within me as well, where maybe this one will sound a little bit better. Maybe this will sound a little bit better. And I'm trying to be more mindful that just pick your tools, stick with them, get good at them. Next, we have at Flint Hills Briar Gareth, who says, nowadays, if you run across a Bigfoot or another cryptid creature, ghost, etc., you'd better photograph it on film if you want anyone to believe you. Yeah, so I was talking about, I guess, was it last week? Yeah, I think it was last week where I had the video about about how AI has made film photography more relevant because you can prove that a film photograph is real. And then he says, then again, the Patterson-Gimlin film was shot on film, and the jury has been out since 1967 as to whether it's fake or not. I think it's pretty much proven that it was fake. In fact, I think there was even proof that one of them had purchased the Bigfoot costume and all sorts of stuff. I love wooden musical instruments. They are works of art themselves, but are crafted to create a whole different art form. Coffee blacker than midnight on a moonless night. Yes, that's a very good Dale Cooper quote. I was showing off my Dale Cooper Tomodachi Life character that I had made in Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream on the Nintendo Switch. At B Bishop says, very nice guitars. I borrowed a Gibson bass for a gig a million years ago, and it was quite enjoyable. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being you. I've never played a Gibson bass. The only basses I have ever played in my life were, I kind of had a Fender P bass. I have currently a Fender Mustang bass that I play a short scale. I have touched a jazz bass, but I don't think I've ever touched... Oh, and there was that weird 6-string Fender bass from way back in the day, but I've never touched a Gibson bass. I'm sure they're nice. At Chris Coffey says, thanks for showing us the pedal board. I just got a Les Paul modern guitar, but I only have the Green Day Dookie drive pedal and the Boss ME80. The ME80, I think, is like a big multi-effects thing, right? So that'll probably do you pretty well. Life is going to calm down a little bit for a few months, so maybe I can mess around with my toys. Yeah, sounds like some nice ones. Les Paul, I've never actually played, well, I have played, but I haven't spent a significant amount of time on a Les Paul. I have a Les Paul Special, but it doesn't have the carved maple and it doesn't have humbuckers. It's just slab mahogany with the P90s on it. So yeah, that'd be interesting. At Ultra Classic 01 says, my Boss RC1 loop station and my Boss F5FU make up my pedal board. I don't know what the F5FU is. I've heard of the loop station, but I don't know the F5FU. Is that another multi-effects rig? My Roland Cube Street gives me most of the additional sounds that I might want. Enjoyed your explanation of every item on your pedal board and guitars. Yeah, you're getting way more advanced than me as far as all this stuff. I don't like... Because I just don't want to have to fiddle with things, I don't want anything that has presets or anything like that. And I know people can get some crazy, amazing sounds and really dial in what they want when they use these multi-effects units and presets and even MIDI and stuff and controllers and everything. I am simple. I want something that has knobs and I can look at the knobs and go, this is where this is, this is where this is. And a lot of people use those switchers where they'll get a bunch of pedals and they'll just have them kind of away. And then they have a big switcher that they switch all their different pedals with, and everything's kind of plugged into that. And again, I just want the pedal. I want the knobs on the pedal. I'm a simple man. But sounds like you've got a good thing going there. And then we have at Josh Stivers 9042 who says, love that Gibson. I can't tell, but it looks like you've top wrapped your strings over the tailpiece. I recently started doing that a la Page or Bonamassa, or Bonamassa. What is his name? Yeah. And I've absolutely loved the results. More stable tuning, less string breakage, so it feels better bending, almost like the range has increased. Yeah, I have heard, even though I've never owned a standard Les Paul, that's kind of a big debate as to whether or not you're supposed to, there's a tailpiece bridge and you I put my string through it and then wrap it over the top. You have to do that on a Les Paul Special because it doesn't have the separate two-pneumatic bridge with the individual saddles. So if I didn't have it top wrapped, the bridge would be like this far off the top of the guitar if I just shoved it through. So the Les Paul Specials are made to be top wrapped. The normal Les Pauls are not, I think, if they have a two-pneumatic bridge, but some people like doing that because of the break angle over the bridge and, again, like sustain, all sorts of different things. People will debate this for thousands of years on forums, on the internet. But yeah, you have to top wrap my Gibson Les Paul Special. And then Megan says, nice guitar and pedal setup. This was the update I was waiting for. Do you find that there's a difference between an Epiphone Les Paul and a Gibson Les Paul? I used to own an Epiphone and I found it quite heavy, but it played well. I know they paired the headstocks a while back because the guitar snobs kept complaining. Oh yeah, I guess they had headstocks on the Epiphone that looked more like the Gibsons, but then they changed them because people were like, you can't have a Gibson headstock on an Epiphone, even though Gibson owns Epiphone. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. It's always nice to see others using a relict guitar, so I don't feel as bad about the damage to mine. I saw on Reddit guitar that people will actually pay for relics, which is crazy to me. It's better to achieve it naturally so that the history of the guitar is unique to you. So I have never played an Epiphone Les Paul. I have played an Epiphone Casino, and that was really nice. I think there's some really nice Epiphones out there, but yeah, I've never played a Les Paul. Yeah, when you say using a relict guitar, I think most people think if you say relict that means somebody purposely relict it. My guitar just has gotten a little banged up since I've had it. When I bought it, it was not, there was no dents, no dings, no scratches. I think the hardware was kind of aged looking, and the finish was sort of aged in that it was supposed to look older. It was closet classic, I think, was the standard, but it wasn't actually like anything rubbed off or dinged or dented. So all of those are mine, unfortunately. But yeah, as to the character, I don't mind. I used to be really anal. I remember the first ding I got on my 1960 Custom Shop Tele, I was just like, ah, but then, yeah, it's fine. Okay, and then we had some feedback from AI has made film photography more relevant. The video I posted last week on YouTube and on Patreon, early and ad-free. At Flint Hills Briar Gareth says, how are we doing on time? We're all right. Truer images through chemistry. Yes, painting with light on silver halide crystals. At B Bishop says, let's hope it takes years and not months. So I think you mean for AI to get so good that we won't be able to tell that it's fake. Good grief. Soon all the people in car ads will be happy about their huge car payment amounts. I'm not sure I get that. Do you mean because of AI, they'll make AI ads where people are happy, but they could just pay actors to be happy about their car payments? I'm not sure about that. At Lensman57, I do have to say, there's a stupid AI ad that keeps coming up on YouTube all the time about these ridiculous hose nozzles that supposedly make it so you don't need a pressure washer. And the whole thing is AI. The guy, like his lips don't match his lips don't match the voice, the words that are coming out of his mouth. It's just totally, obviously, completely AI. And it's this stupid product that would never work in a million years, and it just drives me crazy. Anyway, at Lensman says, if film photography becomes unavailable or so expensive that only well-paid pros could afford it, AI will kill photography as we know it. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm that doomsday about it. And I think most people don't care at all about AI. And I'm sure for decades, people will still just keep posting images and it's fine, or taking images. But I hope that film photography still maintains its availability. It's not cheap now, but it's not terribly, horribly expensive to shoot film. So yeah, hopefully that continues. Hopefully Kodak stays in business and keeps making film. And then Ultra Classic says, I can see trying to prove something in a commercial monetary setting, but for personal enjoyment, you really do not have to prove anything. AI, digital or analog, can be manipulated. I remember in my commercial days, we had all kinds of tricks to enhance an analog photo. For instance, when photographing a building, we would cut a branch off of a tree with leaves and hold it just above the building to frame it or to give it more dimension. I could see the value of the negative in a court of law to prove or disprove something existed or didn't. Thanks for the commentary. Yeah, and thanks. And that's what I mean. I don't mean just like people taking pictures of their vacation and posting it on Instagram or whatever. I'm talking about people who are in a professional or an artistic setting, like if you're doing an exhibition or if you're entering a photo contest or something, if you want to prove that a picture is real, and obviously people can touch up negatives and stuff too, but it's much more difficult to make just a wholly fake image. You can't basically make a wholly fake image with film photography, but you can with AI and digital photography. And so I could even see in the future there being photo competitions where maybe film photography is the only acceptable entry just to prove. I don't know. Who knows if anyone will care? I care. Some other people care. Most people probably don't. Thanks so much for all the feedback. Please keep it coming in. It really helps make the show go. I've been going super long with the Sunday Stuff and Things lately, so I want to try to make sure I'm under 30 minutes here. But now, gang, it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support Stuff and Things on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. $5 a month gets you in. You get ad-free and early access to all the videos that we post on YouTube, and then you get exclusive access to anything pipe related. I used to post pipe stuff on the YouTube channel. YouTube didn't like it, so I put it on Patreon. You get from the archive videos of old pipe blend reviews every single week, and then you get any new pipe stuff posted to Patreon as well. And even if you're not interested in that exclusive content, it really just makes it possible for me to keep making any of the content that I do. So if you like anything I do, your support on Patreon will keep it coming. Anyway, every week we like to shout out those who support Stuff and Things at $25 or more a month. The producers of Stuff and Things. People like Jason Buckner, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, The Friendly Piper, GreatGrol, Glenn, Just Glenn, David Severin, Nicholas James, Kyle Whitmore, Mr. Gibson, Chris Caughey, Ryan McFadin, Ted Stryker, and GandalfTheGrey. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support Stuff and Things at $100 a month. People like the stolid and dependable Bob Magee. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Gang, what can you look forward to exclusively on Patreon this week? Well, we will have on Monday the Dobies, 38-year-old pipe blend Dobies 4-square Curlies. Thanks to our good friend Ted Stryker. And then on Thursday from the archives, we will have GLP's Stratford, the review I posted on March 25th of 2017. And that was before, I'm pretty sure that was before Elizabethan got pulled from the market, and I did that whole series on trying to find a replacement for Elizabethan. So this was my initial review of Stratford. So check that out on Patreon. Check everything else out that's coming up on YouTube. More photography, more reviews. I've got maybe some shoes coming that I might show you on the channel as well. So there will be, you know, leatherware, leather goods, notebooks and things. Primarily photography, because that's my primary interest, and I'm trying to keep things slightly less scatterbrained on this channel. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later. Man, I barely made it under 30 minutes. Perfect.